All right. Hi, everybody. This is Kerry with Fertile Body Yoga. I am here today with Heather Smidt, who is one of my favorite people in the world, but also she is an acupuncturist, a massage therapist, and a Reiki Master Teacher. So she has a ton of information up there in her brain. So today we're going to talk a little bit about managing menstrual cramps with acupressure. So why don't you give us a little explanation about the traditional Chinese medicine perspective on menstrual cycles?
So the perfect period, according to traditional Chinese medicine, you wouldn't even know that it's coming. You wouldn't have any spotting beforehand, no cramping beforehand. It would come in very easily and go out the way that it came in. And you would have bleeding for about 4 to 5 days, changing a pad or a tampon every 4 to 5 hours. And the blood would have this lovely fresh red color to it. Hardly anybody I know has that perfect period, but that's what we're always right. Yeah, that's what we're always striving for in Chinese medicine, especially when we're thinking about women's health, optimizing fertility. Whatever we can do to optimize our cycles is going to help just increase our chances a little bit. So that's what we're looking for, is that we want to move people in that direction. But nobody has that. So a lot of people, if you notice you have the clots in the blood during your period, or you're having the cramping beforehand, it's a sign of stagnation. And so we need to move that. And that will help to relieve the cramping and the pain that can be associated with the period.
Cool. Okay. So do you have some favorite acupressure points, or at least one? Give us your one favorite.
So, I wanted to show you my very favorite one, which is spleen 6. But before I show it to you, I just want to mention that, like, when you're doing acupressure on yourself, it should be that you use like a thumb or a finger and do nice direct pressure on the point, because you want to send a good message to the body about what we're trying to do. And hold it for about 2 to 3 minutes. It should have that hurt good sensation, but not be painful. All right, so let me show you spleen 6 and kind of tell you why it's the big bang for your buck point when you're having menstrual pain. So hopefully you can see that, Kerry.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so just a quick heads up before we show you where it is. This one is contraindicated during pregnancy. And the reason it's so great is that 3 channels actually meet right at that point. So obviously the spleen, because it's called spleen 6, it's the 6th point on the spleen channel. The liver and the kidney also go through here. So it's a meeting point for all 3 of those channels. So it's a really great one for helping to move that stagnation and to decrease any pain. And there was actually a study that was done in 2011 that showed that acupressure at this point can be very effective for people with dysmenorrhea. To find it, what I recommend doing is taking your hand and using this space here between these 4 fingers as your measurement. You'll line it up with the high point of your ankle bone. So you'll line your pinky up with the high point of your ankle bone on your opposite leg. And this finger will now be right in line with where the point is. So you can just slide that right back, and so that you're in line with the ankle, and you'll be able to apply some good pressure there. This one too, I find sometimes people don't even need to measure. They can just run their finger up from the high point of the ankle bone, and you'll find a nice, soft, tender, smushy spot. Very technical, but it tends to be pretty tender on us, especially during menstruation. So that's spleen 6, my go-to point.
Great. I know, because when if I press that when I'm on my cycle, like, I really feel it. Like, it's really a strong sensation. You're like, whoa. So
yeah,
cool.
Definitely one that you're like, oh, I need that.
Yeah. All right, so should we move in? I'm just going to offer up a yoga pose as well that is really nice and restorative. So before, people often ask, well, what are the contraindications? Like, what yoga poses should I not do when I have my period? And for the most part, without getting into too much explanation, inversions, like full inversions. So when the hips are over the heart, right? That in general we want to avoid, especially long holds of those. If you're moving through it quickly, like through a down dog or whatever, it's fine. Just no 20-minute holds, in shoulder stand or headstand or something like that. We just don't want to go against the natural flow or the natural energies in the body. And during menstruation, we're really focused on Apana Vayu, or that downward and outward energy flowing out of our body. So by going upside down, we're working against nature. So those are my little pieces of advice for the yoga part. And then I'm going to just turn my camera around while I get ready. Heather is going to talk a little bit about pressure down in the lower pelvis and why that might be nice.
So Kerry's going to show you a pose that you can actually apply some pressure to the lower abdomen. The uterus is a muscle, right? So to me, it makes a lot of sense that sometimes applying pressure to a muscle when it's cramping for a runner or someone like that can make a huge difference in helping to stop that tension and that contraction from occurring. The other reason that it could be helpful for some people is this thing called the pain gate theory. So it's this idea that your brain can only pay attention to one signal at a time. And so if you apply a nice sensation, like when you go get a massage, and in this case, this nice pressure in the lower abdomen, that would help to make it so that your nervous system pays attention to that signal rather than the painful one.
All right. Well, that makes sense. All right, so this is one of my favorite restorative poses all the time. I wouldn't do this maybe in your 2-week wait, or if you possibly are pregnant, but definitely when you're in your menstrual cycle, it's a great one. So all you'll need is a bolster, and if you don't have a bolster, taking some blankets and rolling them up, or using a pillow folded in half, anything like that, just to add a little bit of height. And then all we're going to do is lay our body down on top of the bolster. And you want to make sure that right where the hip bones are, they're coming onto the bolster, and the bolster is below the stomach, so you're not getting any pressure, uncomfortable pressure on the belly, so to speak. And then you just drape yourself over and lay your head down. And this is also a really, really nice release for the lower back too. This is one of my favorite things. And you can stay here 20 minutes, as long as you want, and enjoy it because it feels so good.
It looks really good.
That. Right. So that concludes our short and sweet foray into acupressure and yoga for menstrual cramps. Have any parting words, Heather?
Just thanks so much for letting me do this.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. We'll do another one soon.
All right. Bye, Kerry.
Okay, bye.